Hello fourth year students. Today we are going to start talking about the techniques that can be used in testing or in making a good communicative test. So after we talked about the features of the test, the good test, the types of the test, the principles and the features of the good communicative test, we need now to know something about the formats that can be used in making the test items in a good communicative test. To start, first of all, we need to know about the test items and their classification. Test items in general are classified according to the type of answer required from the students. So, according to this, we have two types of test items. What are they? Selection and supply items. What do you mean by the selection item? The selection items are the items that require the students or the testees to select the correct answer from a number of options the teacher has already given in the test. And these items include, as you see, multiple choice questions, true-false questions, match and matching questions. While the supply items from their name supply or productive or production test items, in fact, these test items require from the students to produce, to supply an answer. Okay, and here we have the short answer questions, the close type of questions, the gap filling, and the essay writing questions. Another criterion according to which we can classify the test items is scoring, how to score the test. So according to scoring, we can also find two types of test formats. What are they? They are the objective and the subjective items. If we start with the objective test items, we can see that they are called objective because their scoring is based only on what an answer key. So for each test item, for each objective test item, there should be a correct answer, one correct answer or one key answer according to which the scorer is going to give either to give the give mark or to give 0. Consequently, these items do not need an expert judgment. They do not need it from the teacher or from the scorer or the rater who is scoring or marking these types of questions to be familiar with with the materials tested. Okay, it doesn't need knowledge from the teacher because already the teachers, they have a list of the correct options or the correct answers, and they are going to put marks according to them. So they do not depend on the subjective interpretation of the teacher. Objective test items are short answer, so they do not require from the students to produce answers, okay, whether they are short or long. They are, as we said, that they are selection items. They are closed response. Why, or what do we mean by closed response? Which means that they have only one correct answer. Each item of these in the test, which is going to be to take the objective nature, has one correct response. Objective test items are mostly used to test recognition. Okay, so you know that in language we have two types of, we can say, skills, recognition and production. So mostly we do not say that it is all the time or it is a general fact, but mostly the objective items are used to test what? Recognition on the part of the students. They are quick and easy to score. You see, because as we said that there is the correct answers are already determined, are already decided for them, so they are what? Quick to be scored, and easy also. So they are what? Practical in terms of what? In terms of scoring. Objective test items are yet difficult and time consuming in preparation. So they are easy and quick in scoring, but at the same time they are, or they need much time in being prepared. Objective test items can be quite reliable if there are enough of them. So if we want to have a reliable objective test, we shouldn't make a limited number of them. Okay, so here there should be an enough number, a sufficient number of these objective tests or these items in order to say that this test can get or can yield reliable results. So you see, the workload or the teacher should work hard before the test administration. How or in what he is working, is going, or she is going to work in what? In preparing, taking much time in preparing reliable items. Okay, in preparing a sufficient number of items. In order to what? In order to get a reliable result. So, but when administering or conducting the test and scoring the test, these are not going to take so much time and effort on the part of the teacher. So most of the work, okay, most of the work are is done before making or administering the test for the students. Objective test items are also what? More popular among language teachers and students than the subjective items for two reasons. What are they? First, they are practical in grading. As we said, that they do not take so much time in grading or in scoring. They can even be graded or scored by what? By the computers. Second, they can be used to measure different types of language skills and components. So you can use them in testing reading, listening, grammar, vocabulary, okay, pronunciation. So you see, they can be used to test different skills and different components. On the other hand, we can see that there is what is called a subjective test item. What does it mean, a subjective test item? We mean by them the test items that need what? The students to produce, to supply an answer. Whether it is a short answer, just like in short answer questions or in closed items, or in discussions, but long answers in what? In the essays, in writing essays, in writing paragraphs, or in writing compositions. So here, why do we call them subjective? Because here their scoring is going to be done by what? Done by the teacher. So we need a human element here. And when we need teachers or scorers to score the test, this means that the reliability can be affected. The reliability of the test can be affected. Okay. What else? Their emphasis is on what? Production. Because we said that the students have to what? To produce their answers. They are open-ended questions. They are not limited to one answer. Okay, if you ask your students to write an essay about a certain topic, each student will discuss or write this essay about the topic from a different point of view. Okay, so they are what? Open-ended. Different answers can be acceptable. They are easy to write. Okay, so the time that the teacher can take to prepare them is short, but difficult and time consuming to grade or score. Their reliability, as we said, that are problematic as they require human scoring. Their workload takes place after the test has been administered. So before the test, all that is required from the teacher to do is to put the questions, and the questions are usually short. They do not need so much time to prepare, do not need so much effort from the teacher to make these questions. But after making or administering the test and taking the papers or the answer sheets from the students, here the workload will start. Okay, because the teacher will spend a long time in scoring these answer sheets, especially if he is teaching a large number of students. So after we finish talking about the classification of the test items, we are going to move to talk about the most common formats of questions or test items that are used in language test. The first type of questions we are going to discuss is the multiple choice questions, which is also known or abbreviated as the MCQ questions. So why should we start with these types of questions? Because they are the most common formats of questions that are used in testing language, testing different types of language skills and components. All the teachers or teachers all over the world are familiar with the form or the format of these questions from their learning experience. So they know, okay, or they understand how such a format can work. They are also widely used in textbooks, okay, as well as in making standardized tests or the well-known English language proficiency exams like the IELTS and the TOEFL. They are widely used to assess learning at the recall and comprehension levels. So they are not only used to test recognition, okay? They are also used to test what in understanding. Although they are more difficult to write, okay, we are going to see that they need time to prepare, or teachers, they need time and to spend much effort in preparing well or let us say good items. Is it clear? But يعني than the true false questions, but the scoring, their scoring, because they are easier to score, okay, they are preferred to be used by language teachers. So to talk about these types of questions, we should start first of all with their structure. We can say that, generally speaking, they have two parts, or they consist of two parts. What are they? They have or they should have what? The stem, okay, the which can be a question or an incomplete sentence, followed by the second part, which is what? The response options. These response options are going also to have or to be subclassified into or subdivided into two parts. One of them should be what? The key or the correct answer, while the others are called what? Distractors or incorrect answers. Now, about the number of the response options, how many the teacher has to use with each stem, this depends on what? On the type of the skill of or component that is tested. Okay, so they say that typically when we test reading, vocabulary, or grammar, the number of the options decided for each STEM should be what? 4. But when we test listening, okay, the number of the or the acceptable or the suggested number of these options is what is preferred to be 3. Why? Because you know that with listening, the students first of all need to listen to a certain text, whether it is a passage or a conversation or watch a video or whatever. They can, okay, listen or watch the material or the text one or two times. And after that, depending on their memory, they are going to what? To answer the questions set by the teacher about the material they have listened to or they have watched. So if you put 4 or options for each STEM, this will be what? Too much for their memory. Is it clear? So it is preferred to what? To give them or to minimize the number of the options in the listening test in order to facilitate the recalling of information for your students. So why do we need distractors? Distractors are important because they are used to move away the attention of the student from the correct or the key answer, especially if they are prepared well. And when you are doing that, you are testing you are measuring the real skill or knowledge of your student. Okay? These types of questions have advantages. What are they? First, if they are written well, they are reliable. And be sure that you have a sufficient number of them in your test in order to make them or to get a reliable test. They can be useful at various educational levels. Okay, so they can be used with the elementary students, with children, with advanced students. So they can be used to test different skills, different components of language, and with all levels of learners. Their assessment is not affected by the testees' writing abilities. Why? Because they do not require the test student to write anything. All the student needs to do is to what? To circle the correct answer if he's answering by using the paper and pencil, a traditional test, or clicking the correct answer if he is having a computerized test. They are practical as they can be scored by the computer if available. So they are what? Easy to score. They do not take so much time in scoring, whether by the teacher or by the computer. Students everywhere are familiar with their formats. At the same time, these types of questions have disadvantages. What are they? Some teachers believe that these items are used only to testing recognition. Okay, we said at the beginning, we said mostly they are used to test recognition, but the good teacher can prepare MCQ questions to test, for instance, language production or communication. These items encourage guessing. Because you are giving a number of options or options for students to choose from, here most of the time, okay, students depend on their guessing, and this may affect what? The reliability of your test. It is challenging and time-consuming to write plausible distractors and produce good items. So, as we said before, making or preparing or constructing good multiple choice question needs time and effort on the part of the teacher. he has to prepare them well in order to get reliable results. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantages of these questions. Although they are easy to be scored, they do not take so much time in scoring, but they need time and effort in preparing the stem and preparing what the correct or the plausible, the good distractors. That's why, okay, in the class that we are going to have, we are going to discuss a number of examples from the multiple choice questions that are used in testing language skills or language components, to identify the mistakes or the violations that teachers had made in making or in constructing such questions. At the same time, we are going to discuss the tips or the pieces of advice that we can offer for you to prepare good multiple choice questions. Okay, so I'd like you to have a look at the PDF I attached with this video in order to see how to prepare a good multiple choice question. Thank you.